Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about long, clean lines. How do you get them? Well, it starts with the brush. It's not magic. So let's talk about it. So here's the first stroke back to the canvas. I've been out of the studio for a while, so let's see how it goes. Boom, went great. Okay, let's see how the second one goes. All right, not as smooth, running out of paint. Okay, so there you have it. It doesn't always go your way. So I'm going to talk about all the aspects that are going to get you the best results. Now, when you come in cold and you haven't painted for a couple days or even just a day, you're going to have troubles. So I sped this up so we could just see me going back and back and back, trying to get that same stroke. And I don't think there's anything to it other than I was just rusty. I wasn't mixing the paint viscosity correctly. Looks like the body mechanics are fine. So let's go into the second one. Now, I'm probably paying more attention to cutting the thickness of the paint, the viscosity of the paint, to get me more flow. And I'm doing that by using the spray bottle on a very fine mist, and I'm doing it to the palette where my paint is, and I'm mixing a slurry, if you will, of thinner paint. And I'm not spraying, right into the main pile, but off to the side a little bit. And I'm also, every once in a while, you're going to see me use that mist on the surface of the canvas to coax things along. So here, there you go. So here, this second swipe, the second line work that I'm attempting is giving me a bit of a fight as well. And I'll tell you, and I sped this up too because of that fact. I'll tell you, the reason that's happening is look at my body mechanics. Terrible. Okay, so I didn't know I was going to use this for a instructional video, or I wouldn't have been doing that because I don't want you guys doing that. This is just some habits I've picked up. I do what's necessary, but really what I should have done, and I'm going to do it later on a couple other as I remember the correct way to do things. I'm going to spin the canvas. So in a couple strokes from now, I'm going to need to spin the canvas. It's all about those body mechanics, though. I look really comfortable in this setup, so this should go pretty darn good. It looks like I've got the paint mixed to the right thickness as well. So there you have it. That's a long, clean line. Now again, it's about the thickness of the paint. It can't be right out of the tube in most cases. It's too much like a pudding thickness in order to flow that far. So the water needs to cut it, or they make mediums for that, flow mediums. I like water because water doesn't cost too much. It's also about your body mechanics. You see me readjusting, changing my stance and moving my torso along with it. And then it's about the brush. Okay, so those brushes I was showing at the beginning are synthetic bristle. Okay, if you guys have been watching me, we've talked about this before. Synthetic bristle is best for this application. Oh, there, I found a mistake. So I always have my damp cotton rag with me as well, in case anything goes off the rails a bit. Now you see me plotting it before I do it. I'm questioning myself. I'm plotting out where am I going to go before I actually do it. A little bit of a dry run or a little bit of a thought process leading up to. Nope, didn't like it. Let's try that again. Maybe the paint was too thick. Here we go. Put it down, don't hesitate. You'll see my whole body start to shift to the right so that my arm and hand and wrist and everything can stay as comfortable as possible. So I've set my feet up probably at a wide, at least a shoulder width, so that I can actually rock to the right without losing balance or disrupting what's occurring from my shoulder down to the brush. Same thing is happening. I'm shifting over to that other foot. I might even take a little step if I need to. Nope, I stayed put. And I'm right in the way of the camera. But it turned out good. Okay, I get to the bottom of the canvas there, and I got to get it on the lip so I can run that line clean off the edge of the canvas. So many little details during this kind of process. So you see, I'm really thinking. I'm not rushing through this. I'm going to dry run again. Try to find a good place to put it. Again, nice sharp edge on the brush, the way I loaded it. And no hesitation. Follow through. Okay, so when I load the brush, I make sure to make a sharp, sharp edge. Get those bristles as sharp and in line as I can. Okay, the water and the paint help to make that happen. So when you've cut that viscosity down with that water, it's all a perfect recipe for these lines to go smooth for you. Okay, and it seems that as I've progressed from that first one where I struggled quite a bit, now things are going a little bit better. It seems I've got my paint right where I need it. I've figured out the body mechanics a little better. You don't see me bending at the waist anymore. There I go, plotting again for the sake of balance and body mechanics. Oh, let's try that again. Oh, here, I'm going to show how I loaded the brush nice and sharp. Look at the edge of this brush, right? It's not even a new brush, but it's super, super sharp. It's going to give me that thin line. And there's no other way. You can't just haphazardly load the paint. You've got to make sure you've shaped that brush out. There we go. Didn't like it. Look at that. Gone. Never happened. Try again. Better. Looks more graceful. So, this is in the abstract realm, so it's a different animal, but if you're doing branches, or let's say you're doing, I don't know, seaweed, kelp, something natural that has this flow to it, tentacles, hair, and especially in a large scale, you'd be doing exactly what I'm doing here. In a smaller scale, this would be more of a shoulder movement. You might be seated. That's okay. All this stuff applies regardless of size and regardless of what the heck it is you're painting. These paintings came about, well, I didn't like that at all. I think I put it in the wrong place. Let's try that again. There, champ. That's better. These techniques apply regardless. These paintings started because I wanted to experiment. So these kind of shapes, these swoops, is what I started experimenting with, just to see what would happen. Very inspired by street art. A lot of the writers, the way they work their spray cans and things is, it's a different technique, obviously. It's a nozzle, but the way they interweave their sections is what I got intrigued with. So I started trying to figure this out with the brush as a studio practice. Now I have tried to learn that spray technique, working on plywood and stuff like that, and I'm still just moderately terrible, which is okay. I'll get there. But for now, I'm trying to get this down to a science. more swoops. Yeah, a couple more swoops. So remember, guys, try this. And even if it's something abstract like this, it's just like learning any other physical activity and mastering the mechanics of it. I often compare it to tennis, even though it's way, way different than tennis. But the point being that if you've ever tried to get that ball over the net, it could be as simple as your wrist is doing a stupid little thing at the last moment and it's ruining that stroke. Well, those kind of principles hold here as well. Or even if you've gone bowling, if you're consistently getting gutter balls, it's got to do with your body mechanics. So, that first stroke that I did for this video was a gutter ball. And that's all right. I just needed to adjust my mechanics. And so keep that same thing in mind as you are practicing this, Don't shy away from things that are difficult. If you can master this, and let's say you're a portrait artist, well, the way you render hair is going to be just amazing to people. So it looks like I'm heading into some blending and shading now. And you can see I've got I'm definitely just filling in now. So I've got my handy dandy spray bottle to help coax the paint along. And I'm just putting like a milky white over all these areas to get it through this step. So I hope you enjoyed. Keep your eyes peeled to my social media to see this painting come to life. Hopefully I'll keep working on it. And I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.